Well, 6 more losses, and they're 63 and 61, and they're on the outside looking in, and they've got work to do with this schedule coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But because they've been able to avoid that sweep, because they've been able to avoid that long losing streak, they've picked up a win here and there. And over the course, in a course of a week, you go, cool, they won one more game. But over the course of, what do they play now, 20 weeks of the season, all of a sudden you say, okay, if they win an extra game a week, that's 20 wins. And it's not nothing. It cumulatively, it becomes a much bigger deal. And it's why they're 14 games over 500 and 3.5 up on the wild card and 3 games out in the division. I mean, because they've been able to avoid that, they have hung around. Not just hung around; they've been in pole position for a playoff spot for most of the season. And these next, after the Angels series,
it's just the worst teams they play are the Pirates and the Giants, basically. And
yeah, pretty much. Nationals aren't very good, but they've got some talent. The Braves, the last week of the season, I think could be huge for this team. And it's very interesting because the Nationals are out of it, obviously, but they've got talent.
Yep.
The Braves, they could be in a spot where they've locked up their playoff spot. And it doesn't look like they're going to win the division, which means they're going to have to play that wild card series. They might be setting up for the playoffs by then.
That's up to the Mets. Right. Oh, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if they had it wrapped up. You'd figure that between those two teams, the Braves should be the team that has it wrapped up by then, but they haven't done that.
The Royals might be too, actually.
Right.
But
exactly.
But you're right. But it's interesting because they could go into that final 12 games. I don't think the Tigers are a bad team. There's not a good team.
No.
And really, it's final 15 if you include the Pirates. Especially if they shut down Paul Skeens, which I think they might at this point.
And the Giants might be out of it.
Giants might be out of it. The Nationals are obviously out of it. The Braves might be set. I mean, you could go into those final 15 games with those 5 teams having nothing to play for, and the Royals having everything to play for. They could make some noise then, but it would be really helpful if they could get through these next 23. And 20 after the Angels series, if they can go 9-11, if they win 2 of 3 against the Angels, and go 9-11 against,
I think they'd be in.
They're good to go. I mean, it's that would they'd be at 80 wins by then with 15 to play.
Right.
I mean, I think 88's the number that's for sure. 87 probably gets them in.
Right.
So I mean, like you started with, the math really works for the Royals right now.
It certainly does. It's fun, David. We always appreciate talking about it, and we've done so all baseball season. We'll continue to do so. It's creeping up on September, and baseball's still relevant in Kansas City. That's really cool. David's Inside the Crown is a great place to get extended information on the Mondays when we usually talk. It's a free newsletter, so check it out and then buy it because you're going to want it. And with the Royals becoming good, the price is only going to go up. It's a very wonderful price now, but let's face it, that's going to happen. So anyway, always a pleasure, David. We look forward to talking to you again soon, and keep smiling and enjoying Royals baseball.
Hey, you do the same. Thanks, Danny.
We've got a little more baseball coming up. Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Current, playoff golf, how tough it is to win in the world of golf, always. And college football is not even on the horizon. It's just 3 days away as well. All that and a little bit more coming up on Monday Musings, Danny and Friends Sports Wrap. It's presented by Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
It's always great to get an update from Dr. Brad Woodall from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. 8 locations all around Kansas City, including the newest one in Raytown.
We are very excited to join the Raytown community. We just took over for Dr. David Frey, who retired and has then shared all of his patients with us to take great care of.
They do it all year round, and that means in the fall as well, when people get back to raking leaves and participating in fall sports, all those kinds of things, right?
Back to school means back for fun. Full backpack, we can help as your chiropractor. If you're starting fall sports, we want to make sure you have that physical, and we want to make sure you're in great shape. And if injuries happen, we've got your back.
And you've got it all around Kansas City at 8 different locations for advanced sports and family chiropractic and acupuncture. Visit asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny. We're here at the 23rd Street Brewery with Matt Llewellyn. And Matt, you've got a great menu. You fine-tuned it a little bit. Great beers. There's always something to be had to put a smile on your face at the 23rd Street Brewery.
Oh, you bet. And Brian Haney would always say, come have the Haney turkey stack. Bill Self would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. I would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. It's great. Great mac and cheese, buffalo mac and cheese. And we've got a ton of other menu items that you're sure to love. We've got a great brewer who's brewing great beer. And if you like craft beer, our guy's the way to go. And we're making great drinks, too. There's a great new distillery in the state of Kansas called Llewellyn Distillery. My brother's doing that. He makes some great whiskey and vodka and rum, and we're doing all kinds of great drinks with those beverages.
Always fun to be had at the 23rd Street Brewery, 23rd and Castle. Come on by anytime and have a good time.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. A little more baseball for you. Actually, going around baseball a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, sort of everything was in the mix, and now things are boiling down quite a bit, and that's good for the Royals, as we just talked about. But in the American League, what's to be decided, whether it matters or not, off the results of the postseason the last few years, is the American League East title for one, flat-footed tie between the Orioles and the Yankees. No team in the American League has won more than 6 games in a row, except for the Houston Astros, and in the National League, that's the same. There's nobody who's won more than 6 games in a row. Tough time of year. Maybe some of the lesser teams are playing with a free mind and providing better opposition. Anyway, Orioles and Yanks splitting their last 10 games and splitting the American League East right now. And that tiebreaker, I imagine, will be decided in the games between the two down the stretch. Red Sox are out of that race, but trying to flag down the Royals, and they're not doing themselves any favors with 6 out of 10 losses. And that's been nice for the Royals, who we talked about are feeling pretty comfy right now. The Rays trade players off. They do this, they do that. They seem to fade away. Then they sweep a weekend series, and they're over 500, which means you're kind of in it. Jay's very disappointing season. Rays actually a surprisingly good season, and they added pieces and look like they'll be dangerous next week. The Guardians got swept over the weekend, and that's tightened things up in the Central. As we noted before, the Twins and the Royals right in the mix there. And the Royals, with their 4-game-in-a-row streak, all things on the table for them. The Tigers have played pretty good for a couple of weeks, but it's probably a little too late. And the White Sox continue to do what they do, which is lose and lose and lose. They're still in the fight to not be the worst team of the modern age with their .240 winning percentage, but they're there right now. And they do some remarkably bad things. They did win a game against the Astros this weekend, but the wins are very occasional. And they, on the 18th of August, I think it might have been the 17th, actually, have been officially eliminated from postseason play. That is hard to do. Hottest team in baseball is the Astros. They've won 10 of 11, and they're in good position now in the AL West over the Mariners, who've picked a bad time to hit the skids a little bit. They had a 5-game losing streak before winning on Sunday, and that puts them well back of the Royals. Texas Rangers, the defending champs, are just going to have to be spoilers to the rest of the way. The Athletics have played pretty good ball. Kind of a cool scene the other day as Bob Melvin, who managed the Athletics forever, came in with his Giants team and said goodbye to the Coliseum. There actually was a big crowd there. And the Angels come to town to play the Royals, and that is good news. They're not playing well. They've been bad all season. They traded some people off. Looks like a recipe for the Royals getting a couple of more wins over the next few days, as David and I talked about. Over in the National League, the Phillies are going to win the East, but vying for the best record overall. As I said, nobody's playing great right now. That includes the Braves, who have won 6 of their last 10. They are in wild card position now, but not by a bunch. It's kind of boiled down to just the Braves and the Mets right now. The Giants are on the periphery. Nationals and Marlins wind it out there. The Brewers have an 11-game lead over the Cardinals. I said that everybody in the West had not won more than 6 games. I was wrong. That was the American League. Actually, the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Padres have won 7 of their last 10, and the Padres have gone 21-5 since the All-Star break. Cardinals picked a bad time to lose 7 out of 10, so they're likely out of it at 61 and 63. So the National League picture is getting more boiled down as well. The Padres and the Diamondbacks look like they're for sure going to make the wild card. The Dodgers look like they'll take the West. And the final wild card comes down to the Braves and the Mets. There's your baseball story for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd say all in all, it was a good day. It was super hot there before we got the cool down. But the fans got to spray water on each other and have some fun and watch Patrick Mahomes with the electrifying behind-the-back pass. You know what? The one thing that I thought was good about the behind-the-back pass, of course, it was cool to see, and it wasn't a particularly difficult physical play, to be honest, but it was kind of necessary. If he hadn't thrown it behind the back, he had no angle to get the ball to Travis Kelce, and I guess that's the way that I would like to see things like that used, so that was kind of fun, as the Chiefs had their only home game, and first time they had played a home game since 217 days. It was freezing cold the last time. It was piping hot this time. Piping hot as well was Xavier Worthy. He was quite good in this game. He had the most active day of any Chiefs player, and he caught a short pass in the opening series, a long pass later. He did a jet sweep where he fumbled at the end. His size might be an issue if they're going to run a lot of jet sweeps for him. But it was a nice day as well. I spent a lot of time paying attention to Kingsley Suamatia, and he, I think, had a good day at the left corner. Cornerback situation doesn't seem to be resolving itself anytime soon. Rashee Rice looked good, and it looks more and more like any punishment for him is going to come next year. And the special teams were much improved in this game. The punting was excellent. The field goal situation was seamless. They forced a couple of fumbles. Nico Remigio had a 42-yard punt return. It was really, I think, a nice day overall. The Lions are a good team. They played their backup, so it was a little difficult to judge things. But all in all, I think it was an improved performance for the Kansas City Chiefs and an entertaining day, I think, for the fans. And that's nice. A lot of people go out to those preseason games, and this was the only one at home who never get to go to a game at Arrowhead Stadium, or little kids who don't get to experience that on a regular basis. So to have an entertaining game like that, the kids are probably the ones who would be disappointed that the Chiefs lost at the end and feel like that's kind of a bummer. But when the other fans really don't care quite at all. But anyway, good day for the Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium, I would say. Bears on Thursday night to wrap up the season. There are quite a few in-season competitions in the world of soccer, and some American sports fans no doubt have difficulty getting used to that, but one of those was the Women's Cup, and this one was won by Sporting Kansas City. They actually beat a team from Spain, Atletico Madrid, a very storied franchise on the men's side, and their women's team is highly, they spend a lot of money on that team, and it's highly funded and followed over there, but the Current just keep on having a fantastic season. They win 1-0. Fun competition for the fans. There's another cup as well between the teams in the NWSL and the teams from Mexico, and the Current are in the semifinals of that. So lots of good things going on with the Current. That it continues to be a great summer entertainment at their stadium right on the riverfront, and they get themselves a little hardware over the weekend. Soccer for me this weekend was a lot of fun. I dove nose deep into plenty of Premier League action. The defending champions, Man City, looked like they'll be vying for 5 titles in a row. I won't spend too much time on the Premier League. That's not on everybody's radar, but it's fun for me. Spend a lot of time getting a good workout in and watching some soccer. It's a great sport to work out too. There's no commercials, so it's kind of fun, and I certainly enjoyed it. Each and every week we come here on the Monday Musings, which will soon be transferring over to Danny and Stan's Football Weekend, but we'll have to make some podcast adjustments because the Royals are relevant this year. You will definitely get your baseball. Don't worry about that. But yesterday there was a lot on my plate. My wife and I went to the movies, actually at a movie theater. It was great. My Penguin friend, if you're looking for a great, really heartwarming entertainment. That was a cool movie. My wife and I will talk about that on our podcast this week. But anyway, so I'm watching the golf, and I've got to, actually was going to watch the Champions Tour golf also. And so I'm working the DVR at night, and there's Hideki Matsuyama just blowing the field away, having himself an easy time of it. He's up by 5 shots through 11 holes, and